Sup guys? All right, sweet. So we'll kick it off today with just looking at the news straight off the bat. So what we've got is obviously we've got a little bit of red folder news coming out in 50 minutes. It's just a speech, then a bit of orange folder, and some red folder in New York. It is also a bank holiday. If we go over to Forex Factor, we can see it's an Italian bank holiday. It's only an Italian bank holiday, so it shouldn't make too much of a difference. But we'll see what that red folder wants to do. It's not listed on Forex Factory, but yeah. Probably not going to do too much given it's just a speech. Looking at EU, so obviously we had a bit of a buy last night, which made sense. Like we were saying about EU, it made sense to have a bit of a push up given what the DXY was doing and given its positioning. So what we've got just now, we just missed the mitigation of this area, which is a daily demand. And given context of where price is reacting from, it does make sense to have a little bit of a sell-off as well, given how high up it is, it's still inside of that 4 hour leg that we've got there. So makes sense. Still have a bit of a sell, but obviously we have come very deep inside of this leg. This is a very strong bullish reaction. So I'm actually more so open to buying EU today rather than trying to sell it. So what we've got just here, we've got a 15-minute external bearish break just here, right? And that was a break of a bullish leg, so it's a good inducement and may potentially be an inducement on a higher time frame, especially given how deep it's come into that hourly bullish leg just there as well. Since breaking that, we never retested. We never retested the previous internal break as well. And we've had a very, very strong reaction to the upside. So this to me is more so looking like bullish momentum, especially given we haven't retested. And as well, this is more so looking like an inducement at this stage. So what I'm looking for, given that we haven't really generated any liquidity to this point, this area did take a little bit of liquidity. However, it failed to mitigate the extreme, and we didn't really have a decisional inside of this leg for it to mitigate. So I'm actually seeing this more so as having higher probability of being retest of that previous internal break. And it is like, somewhat the decision of this point, but I'm also see this area here, given the high that it took, as a more significant area. So what I'm looking for is following this bullish momentum to come down, induce potentially this point, which is retest of that internal break. If we look at the divergence between the two, let's get rid of those markings there. And we can see that on the DXY, we had this little inducement. It's nothing overly significant, don't get me wrong. But it is coming out of this little point here, this little demand area. We had a little inducement high into the break, which on EU we didn't have. So just using that little bit of divergence there, which is why I've got that written out on EU to potentially give this range a little bit of strength. So really what I'm looking for is to come down, induce this point, ideally come into this sort of area here, even induce it. That would be great because that's around our 50% of Asia. Then I'm happy to look for buys back up. I will be looking for an SMT play ideally in terms of working inside of this leg here. Ideally, we can get something out of that point, something like that, and then we can run that buy up from there. We'll just see how this shapes up, but that is what I'm looking for today, really targeting the inducement of that, the mitigation of that. And that's where I will be running my TP to, depending on how we push into it. If it's slow, I'll TP there. If it's full, you can hold it a little bit longer. So we'll just gauge the reaction with that and what it wants to do. But that's kind of the ideal setup I'm looking for today, to be honest. Looking at GU, I'm not going to touch it. And same story with AU, which I will walk through why. If we look at this on the higher time frame, okay, it's our 4 hour break. It's our hourly. Cool. Really, that's 15. Sweet. Right. Cool. Easy as. So looking at what we've got, what actually happened yesterday. So something that may have caused the buy up is one, the positioning on EU. But if we look at this on the 4 hour, we mitigated this area, filled that last little bit of imbalance on the 4 hour, and that's what created our push. We've got a point down here that's yet to be mitigated, but you can actually view this whole area here as the decisional, which we did come into. So might be enough. Well, clearly it was enough to push us up. Might be enough for a bullish continuation, but obviously, nonetheless, right now we're at a 4 hour high, 1 hour high, 15-minute external high, bullish, bullish, bullish. Yeah, I'm not interested in doing anything. I don't want to touch it. I want to wait for it to develop some new structure to either trade the complex pullback or get a retracement, and yeah, we can continue buying up from there. Looking at this area here, more so as obviously, I believe we mitigated that, so that's extreme done. This is more so our decisional and our extreme. It is rubbish though. It's taken really no liquidity. So if we do come down there, I'm not overly keen on trying to buy from it. It hasn't really done anything, to be honest with you. So yeah, not looking to do anything with GU at this stage. Just going to be kind of leaving it to do its thing, and just develop some structure. Same story goes for AU. It's at a high. At this point here is retest of our 15-minute break. Get rid of these. Cool. Retest of a 15-minute break in the decisional of the hourly. However, given that it is retest and it only created the two leg, didn't induce anything other than that, I'm seeing at this stage as a smart money trap. But we're at a high. We're at a hourly, 4 hour, and 15-minute high. Not looking to do anything. Same as GU. Develop some structure and yeah, see what it wants to do from there. DXY. Cool. So when I'm looking at DXY, so we've got a 4 hour break here, right? This is the retest, or can be seen as retest. It's an extreme point given what it's obviously induced. It was the extreme of our hourly leg, but it is actually also retest of that bigger 4 hour break. So the way that we've reacted since sweeping it is more so telling me that it's going to be an inducement of it being retest rather than break a structure. We've developed next to no structure down into this extreme of our 15-minute leg. It's just melted off to it. So I'm not looking for this point to hold. I just want to read this and just follow along with it to help EU for sells, sorry, EU for buyers really. So got the retest here of that little break, which is that validated range. That's really it. You've got a little bit of internal retest here as well, which we could come and sweep, which is around that 50% of Asia. I just got my alert there to see if it does want to, obviously play ball and help out with that side of things. Of course, it can take this low and push up, which helps EU coming up into this point and selling. So yeah, we'll see how that sits, see what it wants to do, and we'll take it from there. Obviously, not looking to place any trades again today. We'll just be paper trading this week. But yeah, price action is looking pretty good. We're just going to have to have a little bit of patience right now. Follow along with EU, as that's probably the best one of the three, but it's still mediocre.